Hey! Did you see the new girl in town?
You mean that cute little redhead?
Is that?
She's
Why don't you come on up and see me sometime?
Hey,
Wow.
baby, can I have your number?
I could bounce a
definitely
dime
tap
off of that
I
ass.
think I'm in love.
Who is that babe?
Come over here.
This robust young waif, this red-haired little spitfire, goes by the name Ranma Saotome.
Ranma Saotome.
Wow.
Very perfect name for the perfect girl.
My goddess, thy name is Ranma Saotome.
But before your hormones all go up in a tizzy, perhaps it's best I tell her story. It starts out a tale of father and son, a master and student of the anything goes style of martial arts. The father, Genma, started putting his son through the trials of manhood while the boy was still in diapers. To claim his birthright, to inherit the anything goes school of martial arts, the boy would have to be transformed into a perfect specimen, a dripping pituitary gland of pure male mojo.
Hey! What's the big idea?
Don't think that we're not onto you.
You're stalling.
What does this have anything to do with that hot chick? Here, here.
All in due time, toadies. All in due time. When the boy reached the tender age of 16, he and his father, footing across China's vast landscape, stumbled upon the cursed training grounds known as Jusenkyo, the Valley of Cursed Springs. Genma and his son, warriors without fear, traded blows while balancing precariously above the deleterious waters. What happens next was inevitable. The boy struck Genma, causing him to lose balance and fall into the spring called Shanmao Nichuan, or Spring of Drowned Panda. Genma came screaming forth from the pond in a new furry panda bear body. In a fit of rage and vengeance, Genma returned the favor to his son, knocking him off his perch and into a cursed spring. Now before we see what transpires here, perhaps now is the best time to reveal this boy's name. His name is Ranma Saotome.
Ranma Saotome?
What does he mean, Ranma Saotome? Oh no, you don't mean...
The spring he found was Nyanichuan, or Spring of Drowned Girl. The poison waters of this spring transformed Ranma from boy to girl, I'm sorry. The very same girl we met at the start of this video. Hey, sorry about the cock tease, guys. These accursed forms are unique in their reversibility, for if Ranma were to douse himself with a splash of hot water, he would return to his normal manly self. But all it takes is a splash of cold water for he to revert back to female form. This is quite inconvenient, since hot water is not always available, and cold water, be it rain, puddle, or swimming pool, is practically unavoidable. Ranma holds in high regard things like manhood, masculinity, testosterone, machismo. His girl form is a major blow to his male ego. One can only imagine the mental damage he has suffered. To be a man trapped in the body of a woman. To look down and see two undulating breasts where his mighty pectorals once were. To look even further down and see, or rather, not see. Obviously, it makes him feel like less of a man, and he has lived a tortured, pitiful existence because of it. He has suffered one indignity after another from male opponents who would look down on him and mock him. He has to deal with fellow females who want to tell him how to behave, and even more embarrassing, how to dress. He has to deal with fellow males looking at him with lust in their eyes, the more brazen ones like Tatewaki Kuno and Mikado Sanzanin forcing themselves upon him. Oh yeah, and then there's the promise Ranma made to his mother, that he would not return home until he became a proud young man, and that he would commit seppuku, samurai ritual disembowelment, if he were anything less. Yep, being a girl can be a major downer. As if this all weren't bad enough, Ranma's female transformation carries with it physical limitations. Girl-type Ranma is considerably smaller than boy-type Ranma, giving him far less reach and less power to his punches. It is not uncommon for his opponents to try and splash him with cold water in hope of gaining an advantage. However, Ranma is not a complete pushover in this form. Far from it, in fact. What Ranma lacks in strength, he gains in speed. Under female guise, he possesses unrivaled dexterity and nimbleness, his new lightweight chassis allowing him to fly through the air with newfound grace. This comes in extra handy, since Ranma's major attacks, like the Kachu Tenshin Amaguriken and the Hiryu Shoten Ha, are predominantly speed-based. Ranma's transformation has also allowed him to grow as a martial artist. Although Ranma's main attacks remain unchanged, he must implement new strategies where brute force may have, at one time, prevailed. His smaller, speedier form forces him to employ a more stick-and-move style of fighting, and develop a more cerebral approach to every battle. Ranma's ability to think on his toes has carried him through fights with far superior physical specimens. This ability he has carried over to his male form as well. Ranma Saotome's solemn vow is to one day return to China, to once again find the mystic land of Jusenkyo, and jump into the cursed spring Nanichuan, the spring of drowned man. Whomever falls in this spring would take the form of a man when doused with cold water, and hence would act as a cure for Ranma's condition. But has this transformation truly been a curse, or has it been a blessing in some ways? As mentioned earlier, it has allowed for Ranma to become a much smarter martial artist and bolstered his speed, but it has proven valuable in other avenues as well. Though Ranma's bravado is known to register through the roof, there are some instances where he'll take victory any way he can get it. In such cases, turning into a girl has proven very useful, for certain male opponents would pull their punches when fighting a female. His transformation allows Ranma to traverse into areas he would normally be unwelcome, like women's locker rooms and bathhouses. Not that he would ever do that sort of thing. Would he? Hell, who are we kidding? If you were a guy and you had this curse, you'd totally do it. I would. Along those same lines, his female form acts as a great disguise to baffle simple-minded opponents, like Ryoga Hibiki. Though he is the series' major protagonist, Ranma has a well-documented dark side, and he's not above using his cursed form for personal gain. He is an expert at using his newfound feminine wiles to seduce men into giving him what he wants, be it free food, information, or just to get an opponent to lower his guard. Ranma has worked this dirty tactic down to a science. And finally, the female form has allowed Ranma to fully explore the vast realm that is anything goes martial arts. He now has the ability to train in and perfect the hundreds of different female-dominated fighting styles which would not have accepted him otherwise. With every new martial art he learns, be he waving around pom-poms with martial arts cheerleading, or hopping and bouncing wearing a tight leotard with martial arts rhythmic gymnastics, Ranma ups his game and gains new tricks and techniques. His curse just may be the key to being the greatest anything-goes martial artist of all time. You can call her by one of many names. The pigtailed girl, girl-type Ranma, tree-born kettle girl, cross-dresser, Ranchan, Lanko, or Ronko. But this she is actually a he, 16-year-old martial arts prodigy, Ranma Saotome. A man whose ultimate goal is to rid himself of his feminine side once and for all. But is this the God's honest truth, or is he playing all of us? There is no anchor tied to his ass. What is stopping Ranma from returning to Jusenkyo and reclaiming his manhood? He swam to China once before, surely he could do it again. It may sound a little brash, but perhaps there's a teeny tiny part of Ranma that is enamored with his newfound deftness in combat. Perhaps there is a strange perverse joy in playing with the minds of all those muscle-headed guys. Those twerps with their overly macho attitude and too much sugar in their testes. They just beg to be knocked from their high horses. And perhaps, going even further down the rabbit hole, there is a certain part of Ranma that actually enjoys being in touch with his feminine side. A brand new branch of his psyche, long gone unexplored, hidden under layers of pretension. Now, he can finally be free.
Hey, Mr. Narrator! What about us?
What a chip!
Who are we supposed to look at now that Ranma is a guy? You tricked us!
Who are we supposed to
Yeah,
worship?
who are we supposed to?
Oh, who's that?
Who is that hot mama? Wow, if I were 10 years younger, I would.
Gentlemen, this one's all yours.
This has been a Ranma 1/2 character profile.
Special thanks go out to Patty6485, Gabaluli, Treeborn Kettle Girl, White Jara, and Tiger Lover 191 for the requests.